still trying to put it in perspective. Good morning, everybody. My name is Marc Farzy, and welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. I spent a lot of yesterday trying to put the Sixers in perspective, and I think I have done that appropriately, and we'll get to that in just a second. Hugh Lamont Douglas III will join us on this fine HUGHSDAY to give us that one final viewpoint from Atlanta. So we'll have our conversation with Hugh about all that. I'll tell you this much. Hugh has a lot of opinions about Ben Simmons, and most of those opinions are opinions that we're probably actually going to agree with, actually. We're going to agree with what Hugh Douglas has to say from the Atlanta perspective, and not just the Atlanta perspective, but also the ex-athlete perspective when it comes to Ben Simmons and what needs to happen next. Because there were so many takes yesterday when it came to Ben Simmons. And I told you, I'm not just going to give him away. And I know that a lot of people just want to rid themselves of Ben Simmons and act like that's going to solve the problem. And CJ McCollum's going to come here and change the whole outlook of the franchise. And I just don't see that happening. If you could get Dame Lillard, then we're talking. But I just don't see that happening. I'll give you my once and for all take on Ben Simmons in this offseason. But I just want to say this before I introduce any other topic. When the offseason starts officially, meaning the playoffs are done, the championship's over, the NBA finals are over, Ben Simmons is done clearing his mind, and the social media posts start coming with him in the gym, topless, shooting from the outside, please pay no mind to it. Just go, oh, look, an athlete working out. Cool. Don't go, oh, my God, Ben, he's working on it. It's great. He's going to come in. He's going to do it. It's going to be great. Yeah, please don't give it that attention. I'll just say that right now. I know it's early for that. I know we're not going to start seeing those posts right now, but just please don't feed into that stuff. We'll get a little bit more in a second. We're also going to get into some more of the takes that came out yesterday. Adrian Wojnarowski was on ESPN yesterday. Of course he was, to talk about Ben Simmons and his future. Magic Johnson was on ESPN to talk about Ben Simmons and his future. And pretty much everybody said this very similar stuff to what Keith Pompey told us yesterday from Inquirer.com when it comes to Ben Simmons and how they're not going to give him away and how his trade value went down considerably. And the thing that I really appreciated from Woj, and you'll hear it, Woj says, thud. Ben Simmons' thud of an ending to his season. Yeah, I would say it's a pretty accurate word to describe it. A thud. It came to a thud. That's the thud stop. That's pretty much what he said. So let's hear from him. Well, let's hear from Doc Rivers, because yesterday is media day where they do the exit interviews. And the best thing that came out of all of that, it wasn't Doc Rivers talking about how they got a plan in place for Ben Simmons. It wasn't about Doc Rivers saying, I think it can be fixed. I think it can be fixed quickly, Ben Simmons, because I'm gonna refer to the Anchorman gif here, and that is the I don't believe you when you talk about fixing Ben Simmons quickly. Right? Because if you can fix him quickly, then I assume at some point where you've had him as your player and you're the head coach, and you've had him since, playing for you since December, and you weren't able to fix that throughout the season, then, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and assume it's not going to be a quick or easy fix. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that Ben's not exactly going to be willing to do everything, because we've been talking about him as a professional athlete in the NBA for 4 years. And we've been talking about him improving upon that jump shot. And I mentioned yesterday watching Ben Simmons at LSU, and really throughout this playoff series against the Hawks, my worst fears were realized. Watching him at LSU, I looked at a guy that didn't care. And I know it was 1 year. I know it was a family favor to go to college and all that stuff. It was his godfather on the LSU coaching staff, whatever it was. And you never want to see the guy that's about to be your number one overall pick. You never want to see that guy look disinterested. You never want to see that guy look like he doesn't have what it takes to push a team to the next level. You never want to see a guy that you're about to take number one overall look like he simply doesn't care about the sport, like he's just going through the motions. You never want to see that. And there were certainly times at LSU, a lot of times where you saw him play the point forward position, and a lot of times where you saw him just absolutely dazzle and attack the rim and shoot from the outside and all that. And then ever since really LSU rookie year, where he actually played his rookie year, not his first year in the NBA where he didn't play with the injury, but just a steady decline in production from Ben Simmons. And he came into the league a pretty damn good defender. He's become a great defender. He came into the league a pretty great facilitator. He's still, other than this series, a great facilitator. Everything else has pretty much stayed the same. No improvement. As we watch Joel Embiid improve, you have not watched Ben Simmons improve. You would like to say they have kind of risen at the same time. It hasn't been the case at all, unfortunately, especially in the avenues that they needed to improve upon most greatly, that Ben Simmons needed to improve upon most greatly. Joel Embiid needed to work on his defensive footwork. He has done that. Joel Embiid needed to work on the touch, on his jump shot. He's absolutely done that. He's improved in his foul shooting. He's improved in his three-point percentage. Like, everyone didn't want Joel Embiid to shoot threes. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, Joe's spotting up for a three? Okay, I'm fine with that. He's gotten better at it. So people have come around on it. Ben Simmons, not so much, unfortunately. So one thing we are going to do in this show, I was going through some of the worst playoff losses in Philadelphia sports history. And there's one common thing that separates Ben Simmons from all the other ones. And we're going to get to that in just a second. But I do want to go kind of around the horn here and let you hear from some of the people whose takes really matter in the NBA, most notably the head coach, and that's Doc Rivers. Here's what Doc Rivers said yesterday during the exit interviews when it came to Ben Simmons and trying to work on his game for next year.
I'm positive in Ben. I'm very bullish on Ben still. But there's work. Mark, there is, and Ben will be willing to do it. And that's the key. Sometimes you have to go through stuff to see it and be honest with it. There's areas that he can fix quickly, in my opinion, and get better, and that will take him to another level. I look at this as a great challenge, but definitely a doable one.
Again, I don't believe you. Doc, I appreciate it. It's really nice. It's actually adorable, what you're saying. I just don't believe you. You might think it's an easy fix, and if you do, that's amazing. Then how come this wasn't fixed back in December? How come this wasn't fixed even back in, let's say, November, when you guys were going through practices and all that? I know you didn't have that full off season and all that because of COVID, but how did the course of the entire season you did not see? I mean, February, I've mentioned it 1,000 times, Ben Simmons over 70% from the foul line. That's great. That's all well and good. But when it comes to the entire season and consistency and in the playoffs, it's not fixed. And this isn't anything that's breaking news. This might be new to Doc, because let's not forget, not even a month ago, Doc was telling us what a treasure Ben Simmons is. He does other things. He's not going to be a 40-point scorer. There is nobody on the planet. There is nobody on planet Earth that looks at Ben Simmons and says, that guy's going to be a 40-point scorer. Nobody's saying that. You know what we are saying, though? And you know what we were even saying then in the series against the Wizards that prompted Doc to say that? You know what we were saying? Hey, Ben, shoot a couple times. Hey, Ben, don't be afraid to dunk a basketball. Hey, Ben, make some free throws. Those aren't piping hot takes, Doc. Those are just, hey, it'd be nice if Ben Simmons could do this little thing that everyone in the NBA seems to be able to do. Like, especially of his caliber. That's all we're saying. We're not saying 40-point scorer. As I said, even at that moment, all we're saying is just improve a little bit on this stuff. That's it. And now Doc is, it's an easy fix. Okay. All right. Then what have you been doing, Doc, since December? What have you been doing since being named head coach of the 76ers? If it's such an easy fix, by all means. And he does say that they got a plan in place. They got a regimen. They got a plan for Ben Simmons to improve. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure they do. But are they sure that Ben's going to follow that? Are they sure that Ben's going to put in the work according to what they want him to do, not what he wants to do? I mean, let's not forget that there was almost a fight at a press conference when a reporter asked Ben Simmons, so you still going to work with your brother as your shooting coach? And Ben kind of looked at the guy like, you're talking about my brother? And they gave him this look, like he stared his ass down. Like everyone picked up on that vibe. And that's how Ben wanted to handle it. So you're still going to go through that? You're still going to go through that with Chris Johnson walking him through things in the offseason again? Hey, look, whatever the Sixers think they're going to be able to do with Ben, if you think it's that easy, how come you haven't done it already? And this is nothing breaking here. It's not the first time Ben Simmons has been shut down in the playoffs, mind you. So I think it's adorable that the Sixers are going to find this to be a quick fix. Here's hoping they're right. And I do think that they want to. But I also think, on the other avenue, they are going to be shopping Ben. Because when you hear Magic Johnson, you hear other national media pundits, you hear pretty much everyone talking about, oh, yeah, Ben can't come back here. And there's part of that I absolutely agree with. But it's not part that makes me think, oh, just whatever. Bag of baseballs, bag of basketballs. I saw one person tweet out, I think NBC Sports Philly listed all the things people wanted to trade Ben Simmons for, and one of them was literally anybody and 2 tacos. I do love myself a taco, but I just don't think that's going to be what the Sixers are going to be giving up with Ben Simmons. It's $177 million and a couple of tacos. They better be some pretty good tacos, tell you that much. But Adrian Wojnarowski talked about it on ESPN yesterday, and I'm in this line of thinking. When I heard Woj say it, I went, "Okay, cool. I'm not nuts if Woj is saying it." And Woj and I are on the same page. Here's Woj on ESPN on SportsCenter yesterday. He posted this to his social media when it comes to all things Ben Simmons and what this team's going to be doing next.
The challenge for the Sixers right now is to not exude a desperation that they have to move Ben Simmons or they're even going to move Ben Simmons because, listen, his trade value right now is not what it has been in the past with the kind of thud of an ending he had in Philadelphia. So there's kind of a dual path here of him, if his willingness is to get into the gym, to work on that shot, as Doc Rivers indicated they had a plan for him this summer. And then, listen, the Sixers are going to have to listen to what might be out there, what are the deals that might present themselves, and none of them may be good enough to part with Ben Simmons when perhaps his value could increase if he is able to work on that shot this summer, come back next season, and get off to a better start. So I think for Philadelphia, with the kind of exit they had, I know they're going to be open to everything, but they can't just go out with a disposition of we're going to move Ben Simmons no matter what. The right deal would have to be there, and he's still a player that winning with him might be better than what you can get right now for him.
It was L. Duncan asking him the questions there on ESPN yesterday, who has been breaking the stones of our good friend Kevin Agandi. But as far as Woj goes, he's exactly right. I know that the anger, oh my God, get him out of here. I am still very much of the school that Ben Simmons is a jump shot and consistent free throw shooter away from being a legit NBA MVP contender. A legit, not just he got like 1 4th place vote and he's on the list, right, with Joel Embiid. I'm talking about he is 1 consistent jump shot, 1 consistent free throw away from being a legit MVP contender. I am not just giving that away. And I think Woj puts it perfectly. Winning with him might be better than trying to bring in something. It might be better than what you could get back in a trade for him and trying to win with that. I think giving him another year is better than having CJ McCollum here. And I know that's like the hot name. That's not Dame Lillard. Oh, no, you can't get Dame Lillard. So maybe it's CJ McCollum. I'm like, CJ McCollum isn't turning this franchise around. You know what could turn this franchise? Not turn this franchise around, but at least put him to the next level. Get him to the Eastern Conference Finals. Get him to an NBA final. Ben Simmons with a jump shot. Ben Simmons with a free throw. I don't know how a professional athlete can go into an offseason after the way they lost in the playoffs and not change the following year. Because this wasn't Jimmy Butler's 76ers. This wasn't Ben Simmons' first trip to the postseason, 1 point against the Celtics trip to the playoffs. This was Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid's team. And Ben Simmons came up minuscule in this game. You had one guy playing with a torn meniscus. You had one guy playing like he didn't have a heart. Like that's really what it looked like to me. It looked like, hey guys, all I gotta do here is play defense, right? All right, well, that's it. Don't ask me to do anything else because you know I'm not that good at that other stuff. So just ask me to do the thing that I know I can do and I'm most comfortable doing. And everything else, I'll defer to you guys. Even if it's me under the basket, ready for a dunk, scared as all hell that Danilo Gallinari is gonna block my dunk. Now that I won't do. I'll just defer that to the guy that's playing second year in the league, Matisse Thybulle. That's what I'll do. That's extremely disheartening just to watch the entire way that Ben Simmons played. And really, if an athlete can't come back from that after an offseason of trying to improve his game and be better than that, then he absolutely has no heart. It's not just a bad series. It's not just bad playoffs. It's just not a mental block. It's a willingness to get better at it. If you could teach some 8th grade kid to shoot free throws, I'm pretty sure you could teach somebody that's making $177 million. I'm pretty sure you could teach a professional athlete to do it as well, especially if you have all these minds like Sam Cassell and you have Doc Rivers surrounding them for an offseason. Then I would really hope that a willing participant would actually put in the work to go do it. And as much as I want to say that I have seen Ben Simmons put in work and I've seen him out there in pregame warmups, I've seen him there at practice, put in the work to get better. The proof's not in the pudding, unfortunately. You're not seeing the fruits of his labor really coming out here at all. So I'd rather just, if you can't go get a superstar for Ben Simmons, if you can't get Ben Simmons out of here along with picks and maybe Tyrese Maxey to bring in somebody that is going to be a superstar next to Joel Embiid, a guy like Dame Lillard, for instance, I'm out. I'm not just making a trade just to make a trade. And unfortunately, I think that's where a lot of people are at. Maybe this guy, for instance, because we're at this point. I see some people referencing Barstool. Yeah, maybe we'll talk to Smitty tomorrow. But we're at the Ben Simmons jersey burning part. And this Xfinity? I think that's Xfinity Live. I could be wrong, but that's the point we're at right now, folks. And thanks to Barstool for finding that fine item, because that's where we're at right now. Isn't that fun? So I told you earlier, I was looking around at awful postseason performances. And wouldn't you know it, Ed Barkowitz of Inquirer.com just put together a story on that. And I was scrolling through some of that, and I was scrolling through a couple other things that I had looked up just to jog my memory. And yesterday I mentioned Game 5, Cardinals-Phillies. The Phillies lose 1-0. Ryan Howard grounds out at the end of that game, blows out his Achilles, and then he was never the same Ryan Howard after that. I looked at all these different playoffs there. I went back to 1980 in the Super Bowl and the Eagles getting blown out 27-10 back then. I went back, I looked at the Fog Bowl. All these other playoff performances. A little bit more recently, even with the Eagles, Donovan McNabb's interception to Rondé Barber in the NFC Championship game where the Eagles could have went on to beat the Raiders and won the Super Bowl. There were so many different games. The playoffs with the Flyers most recently, barely being able to barely being able to get out of the first round over the last 10 years. Awful, absolutely awful. But I looked at all these different playoff performances and how disappointing they were. And I went to Joe Carter and Mitch Williams. And I've talked to Mitch about that pitch so many times to Joe Carter. And it was like an 86-mile-per-hour pitch. And I know some people thought he threw him a slider or whatever. And it was no, that was his fastball. That's all he had left. He was dead. His arm was done at that point. But Mitch at least tried. Ron Jaworski in the Super Bowl in 1980 tried. Randall Cunningham in the second half of the Fog Bowl tried. All these crashes. Claude Giroux against the Rangers tried. All these playoff losses, these playoff implosions, every single guy tried. Ben Simmons hid from the moment. And because of all that, I look at the performance he had in this past postseason, especially against the Atlanta Hawks, and I go, wow, in one half of the game, meaning the offensive side of it, it was get the hell away from me. Just whoever I can give this ball away to, please do something with it because I am terrified to have this ball in my hand right now. And 13 assists in the game. That's incredible. What a great facilitator. Really? When you're deferring the basketball every single time, guess what you're going to do? You're going to luck into assists. I don't think people understand how easy it is to get an assist in the NBA nowadays. You could be coming up the floor like Ben Simmons. You could have Tobias Harris standing on the wing, and as you're coming up, you dish it to him, and as long as he catches and goes in motion to the basket and shoots, even if it's a layup, Ben Simmons gets credit for the assists. This is going to stick with me a while, folks. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you noticed it. I do want to say one thing that is, I do need one thing. I do want to put this out. I love Tyrese Maxey. Yesterday, he was talking to the media about, for his exit interview, and Tyrese Maxey says that he told the coaching staff he was going to show up tomorrow, meaning today, because he wanted to work on his game. And the coaching staff said, you take some time to yourself. And I get the coaching staff's point, but if you're Tyrese Maxey, hey, guess what? you're going to find a gym. If you're not going to go there to Camden and use a practice facility, you're going to find a gym somewhere. And I have every bit of confidence that if he's not at a gym right now already, he'll be at a gym some point today trying to get his shots in. I love that attitude from a young player. I think that's absolutely great. And he actually used something yesterday that made me think of Nick Sirianni. Remember a couple of weeks ago when Nick Sirianni was like, all right, okay, right now, I want everyone, right, to get 1% better every day. That's it, just 1% better. And if you get 1% better, guess what? In a couple of weeks, you'll be great. Well, Tyrese Maxey used that same type of thing where he said that he's going to get 1% better every day. That's the goal. So if it's every day, then today is part of every day, is it not? And today I hope he's in the gym trying to get 1% better because that kid's got some cojones. I really admire people that have a great perspective. And to come out and do what he did his rookie year, and to come out and do what he did, especially after going through the middle of the season where you really didn't see him all that much, and you thought, oh, wow, okay, he came out of the gates on all cylinders and then kind of went by the wayside, and then he came back, and then certainly came back in the postseason. I admire someone that has that type of perspective where it's like, yeah, I don't give a damn if I'm a rookie. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to ball. I'm going to do what I know I can do out there on a basketball court. And that's exactly what he did. And you can't ask for much from a rookie other than to have a good perspective, which is, yeah, I'm young. Yeah, I'm inexperienced, but the hell with it. Here's my best shot. You love that. You call that moxie with Maxey. So I will follow that throughout the offseason. Those are actually social media posts that I'll follow because when I look at Tyrese Maxey, I go, I believe you. When I look at the Sixers say, oh, yeah, Ben's a quick fix. Ben's an easy fix. We'll get this taken care of. I go, I don't believe you. So that's where I'm at right now with all of that. But I go back to it. All the other postseason performances, I saw guys trying. I saw guys hustle. I try on both ends, offensively, defensively. With Ben Simmons, I never saw somebody cower from the moment that he cowered from the moment against the Atlanta Hawks. And really, it'll just be on repeat. Him passing up that dunk opportunity because once again, 10-time defensive player of the year, Danilo Gallinari was going to block his shot. Anyway, that's what I got on that. Let me tell you right now about my friend Steven Singer Jewelers. Absolutely love Steven and Steven Singer Jewelers. Do what I do. Go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut for all your big jewelry purchases, all your diamond purchases. No hassle, no haggling. You can find a store that you trust, and that store is Steven Singer Jewelers. Finding the right person that you want to spend the rest of your life with is great, but if you hate all the pressure that comes along with it, of course you do. All the engagement talk, the pressure to buy the right ring, all that pressure goes out the window with Steven Singer Jewelers. That's why guys really hate Steven Singer. He takes every excuse out of the book for not buying the ring. He makes it so easy. I hate Steven Singer Jewelers, a real Philly jeweler that has been making it too easy to buy real diamonds for over 4 decades, specializes in diamond engagement rings, and has a staff of real jewelry experts that explain everything to you, make you feel comfortable as they walk you through everything. That's what you get at Steven Singer Jewelers, the perfect ring or gift, whatever it might be, at the perfect price. No call center, no sales, no haggling, no promo codes, no discounts, just every single day at Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner, 8th and Walnut. The perfect price, the best possible price, guaranteeing the best value every single day. Check out Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Coming up, we have our Morning Rush segment. We'll get into some Phillies news. Also, just 2 crazy things in sports right now. One, I've been banging my head against the wall for years. The other, it comes to Major League Baseball and what's going on in that sport right now. We'll get to all that and more coming up in a little bit. But right now, let's jump on the Zatos Investments guest line. And, I guess we'll talk to Hugh Lamont Douglas III on this fine HUGHSDAY, ladies and gentlemen. I love talking to this man. I look forward to our HUGHSDAYs. But for whatever reason.
But I knew it was coming. But listen, before you go there, Mark, listen. I bleed green, man.
I know.
Played in Philadelphia. I work in Atlanta. I do not take joy out of any of this. But I do know where my bread is buttered, and so I have to go with the buttered bread. Listen, And I also want to apologize for one thing, because the last time that we talked, you asked me about Ben Simmons and why he's not the player. Like what's going on with him?
What's he holding? Why is he holding back? What's with that?
And to be honest, when you ask the question, I don't get to see that many Sixers games. I don't. So when you asked it, I was coming from a perspective of maybe he's more focusing on his defense than anything else. And when I saw him play, he played great defense. He played good defense. But there were times, especially it was 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, where he had a yam. He could have yammed, and he decided to pass it. And there was a couple other times where he had a clear shot, and he decided to defer to somebody else. Oh, and his free throw shooting is horrendous.
Worst ever in the postseason.
You know what, man? This is the thing. I had a lot of thoughts about this because I knew I was going to talk to you, so I had a time to think about this. We are in an age, in an era where, there's mental health awareness, that's going on, and we starting to see that as much as we put these athletes on a pedestal, that they are human. And I don't know if this is something that he's dealing with. This is just something that I thought about when I saw it, because as a former athlete, moments like that where you get to shine and be an individual in a team sport, most guys live for that. They thrive for that moment. For whatever reason, Ben Simmons is not that guy. It doesn't feel like he's that guy. And this is me probably getting a little deeper than what we wanted to get, but I'm thinking to myself, like, being in Philadelphia and being under that kind of pressure, that might be too much for him. It might be. And, that's how I looked at it. I mean, not like I said, not to get too deep, but to be in a moment like that, a clutch moment, to be that guy and not want to be that guy, I don't know. Maybe it's something mental going on with Ben Simmons.
Well, I'll say this. My buddy, because I was at the game, and I turned to my buddy, and he basically said the same thing you did in terms of, what is with him, that type of thing. And I told him, and our friend Trey Thomas mentions this a lot. Philly ain't for everybody.
Yes,
and there's a part of me that takes a lot of pride in that, because we demand nothing but your best.
Yeah.
But then there's other times where I'm like, well, hold on. When do we change things up? And when do we, like Markel Fultz, a lot of people, when he tried coming back from the before the thoracic outlet syndrome that eventually led to his trade to Orlando, a lot of people were like on board and trying to cheer him along. And I remember the opening night, he shot a 3 and the place went nuts. And I remember times with Pat Burrell, people were cheering for him in baseball to come around and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do we do with Ben? Like, because I think we're trying to support him, and I think we're trying to do the best thing possible. But this series seemed to be, especially game 7, especially under 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, as you're alluding to, the yam that he did not throw down. I think a lot of people were just like, okay, well, there's nothing we could do. When this guy gets his free throws, when he attempts a 3, when he shoots a jump shot, we're cheering, we're screaming, we're all about it. And it's almost like he takes that as a negative. And I don't think, like we have talked about before, Philly ain't for everybody, and it might not be for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and I thought about that a lot, man, because I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I didn't have to feel the ire, the true ire of the Philadelphia sports fan. But I know that I've been around people that have, and I know Philly's a gritty town. Philly's a hard-nosed, a blue-collar town. And put it like this, Marc. I think probably the best things for Ben Simmons right now is probably to move on. I cannot see him being able to bounce back from this, and that's huge, because I think, I go back and I think about when Mitch Williams, when he came back to town, and I remember doing at WIP was doing an autograph signing with him. I'll never forget it. And some old lady, Mitch was signing autographs. Some old lady walked up and said, "You got a lot of nerve coming back to Philadelphia, Mitch." And I was like, damn. I was like, damn. I mean, it was like, that's Philly in a nutshell.
Right.
When it comes to sports. And being in Philly, the first thing that I said after the game, I was like, dude, they're about to drag this cat. They're about to drag both of those cats, but he's especially about to get dragged. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things, man. It might be a situation where the best thing for you is to probably go somewhere else and start over, because I think that, there's probably something going on with you. And then on top of that, being in the city and, you probably just need to go, man. You probably
we're not a very forgiving city.
Yeah, you probably just need to go. I mean, that's what I love about Philly, man, because Philly, it can make you or break you, like for real. Like it can make you or break you.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting though. Yesterday, Doc Rivers talked about fixing Ben Simmons in terms of they have a plan that they can turn it around with Ben Simmons. Now, this is assuming that they don't trade him and assuming that they keep him because he's not going to be easy to trade. It's a lot of money. He's in his lowest draft stock or his lowest trade stock and all that. But I look at it and I go, wait, it's going to be an easy fix. It's going to be a quick fix. You have a plan in place. Like, come on.
You know what that reminded me of? Who was the pitcher a couple of weeks ago when they asked him about, using the sticky tack? What's his name?
Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole. When they asked Garrett Cole, remember when they asked Garrett Cole about the sticky tack? That's the same thing with Doc Rivers when they asked Doc about whether or not Ben Simmons was going to be here.
Right.
Like, come on, man. It's the same thing. Listen,
right.
This is a tough spot to be in because I can guarantee you, I wasn't even there. But after that game, like the fans and probably some people in the organization were thinking, oh, he can't be here. He can't be here anymore. Because listen, I'm not even in Philadelphia, but I knew that was going to be the case. Waking up this morning, doing radio in Philadelphia. So much so that we had our listeners giving us the play-by-play of the callers that were calling in Philadelphia and we're talking about Ben Simmons. Like, that's how bad it is, Mark. Like, because Philadelphia has a reputation of, being brutally honest. I don't want to say being unfair because I don't think that's the case, me personally.
No, and I agree. Brutally honest is a good way to put it.
Brutally honest. Brutally honest. They're going to shoot you straight. They're not going to pull any punches. They're going to tell you exactly how they feel. And some of the stuff that I heard that people were saying, it was like brutally honest. And I think that, even if you don't listen to radio in Philadelphia, if you're a player, you feel that when you go to the store, you feel that when you go try to get a cheesesteak from one of your favorite cheesesteak spots, you're getting looked at sideways. So it's safe to probably say that Ben Simmons is probably going to use Instacart to get his groceries and, whatever. Or he's going to get the hell out of town real quick. And this is the unfortunate thing about it. You're in the position right now where I would think that there's no place in this country that watches basketball that they're not going to look at you and be like, wow, dude, so what's going on? You all right? Like, you're going to get that call. When you get up in the morning to go get your bagel and coffee from wherever you go, the first thing the person's going to say to you after you pay? Hey, are you okay? And you know what, Mark? That's what, like, you know what that means? Like, when you ask somebody, are you okay? You don't even have to go into conversation because you already know what it is. They know what happened. Everybody knows what happened. So you're going to get, you okay? You need a hug? Like, somebody's going to, like, listen, this is a tough spot to be in, and I think he will bounce back, but I think it would be in another city. I really do.
Ben Simmons is going to be at a Starbucks. He's going to cry on the shoulder to some Starbucks worker. That's just going to get him at the right time and just be like, are you okay?
Yes, and it's going to break down.
No,
I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I am not. I don't think he's okay, Mark. Seriously, I don't think he's okay. To be an athlete of that caliber, to make the kind of money that he's making, I think there's something deeper. I really do. I really do.
And you could be right. He's a very private person. We know that there's some turmoil going on in his own family. His sister's been pretty vocal about it, but we know that there's other things going on. We're just not sure how much it's affecting him.
Yeah.
However, let me ask you this question, because one thing I've always respected about the vast majority of professional athletes is that it's very rare for you guys to show up a teammate that has made a mistake. Oftentimes somebody lets up a touchdown and you're slapping them on the butt. Hey, we'll get them next time because, sooner or later you're going to be the guy that's not that is the GOAT in the bad version of the GOAT. That's going to come around sooner or later.
Yeah.
But when you see Ben Simmons pass up on that dunk opportunity late in the game against the Hawks, there are multiple camera angles that catch Seth Curry throwing his hands up in the air. Joel Embiid throwing his hands up in the air. Joel Embiid going up to Ben Simmons, basically being like, dude, what was that? And then you also see the look on Matisse Thybulle's face after he got fouled to go to the line after he was passed the ball from Ben Simmons, where he looked shocked that was the choice that Ben Simmons made. They didn't show up their teammate by any means, but you could definitely tell through their body language that they couldn't believe Ben Simmons passed up on that. So as an ex-athlete, what's going through a player's mind in that moment?
You're upset. You're frustrated. It's a game 7. Never played a game 7, but played a lot of crucial playoff games.
Right.
Never had to deal with that, a situation. The closest thing I could think of, and I want to say that was a business decision because it was Sean Taylor when Todd Pinkston, when we were in Washington. That's the closest. But listen, I don't know anybody that's been in that situation that would have taken that chance. Sean Taylor was a monster. Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
He's a beast. And he would have taken Todd's head off if he would have hit him. No question about it. Todd probably would still be having residual effects from that hit to this day if he would have taken that hit. So, that to me was a business decision. And a lot of people looked around and was like, what are you doing? And I know he's gotten a lot of heat for that in Philadelphia since then. But still, there's not a person on this planet I think would be in that situation that wouldn't have made the same decision. I wanted to say that. But that probably is the closest thing to it. This, it's frustrating, but you have to understand it because you have to try to put yourself in that situation. And that's why, Mark, when I thought about it and I came on here, I said it has to be more to it than just, him not wanting to play. It has to be a mental block. It has to be something that's holding this young man back because he's a phenomenal talent. You talk about his defensive prowess and his defensive side of the ball, he can play. It's something that's going on. And when you have Naomi Osaka coming out and talking about mental health and things like that, that's what made me think about it. Mm-hmm. Because the one thing that athletes are not able to do is show weakness. It's just because in people's eyes, you make too much money. You make a ton of bread. So when you make a lot of money, people automatically assume that you don't have any problems. People automatically assume that your life is peaches and cream. That might not be the case for Ben Simmons. And last night, the other night, I should say, when I saw that moment, I was like, damn, dude, what are you doing? But then as I stepped away and I thought about it for a little while and thought about Naomi, I was like, we're in a day and age where people have been dealing with a lot, coming out of this pandemic and things of that nature. So maybe this is deeper than basketball, and it's unfortunate for him that it played out on the stage the way that it did. Because when you see it, when the series started, he had a lot of bravado, talking about locking Trey down and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And he felt like he was into it, but as it progressed, it seemed like it got worse. It got worse. His play got worse. The fact that he didn't want to shoot got worse. I think it was in game 5 where it was really on display, or was it game? I can't remember. But either way, it felt like it was really on display.
Well, it was in multiple games. I think it was game 3 that the Sixers won in Atlanta, where he didn't shoot at all in the first half. Yeah. And then in the second half, Doc Rivers said, guess what? You're going to have to shoot. You're going to have to get aggressive here. And that's when put him down on the post. And they actually started scoring some points with him down there. And I thought that was the moment, because we talked about it shortly thereafter. I thought that was the moment that the Sixers cracked the code of the Hawks.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case. So let me ask you, how excited is Atlanta with the Hawks going to the Eastern Conference Final?
Listen. I'm pretty sure Magic City was packed. People were getting lap dances. Lemon pepper Lou wings were flowing all over the place. No question about it. Come Wednesday when the game starts, they open up the arena. They open up State Farm Arena for people to come in. I'm pretty sure that's going to be packed. When they come back to Atlanta, there is not – Marc, tickets last week when the Hawks and the Sixers played here were going for like $15,000 for floor seats. Can you imagine what the price is going to be for the Eastern Conference Final. Like Atlanta is going to be what the kids like to say, lit. It's going to be it's going to be very lit. It's going to be nice out. Hopefully, the weather's going to be nice. Mark, we're going to have basketball here in Atlanta, something that we haven't had in a long ass time. On July 4th, around July 4th.
Ooh.
Think about that. Like, and then you talk about from a content standpoint, for being a radio guy, we're rolling into football. Like for us, like to have this, we're rolling into football season. We're living what they say high on the hog right now. It's a good feeling. And you know what? And I just want to say, because I know you're probably going to point it out, when I say we, it's because I work here.
Yeah.
I still have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that's why I'm saying we. So don't nobody get mad and be blowing up my Twitter talking about you got a lot of nerve coming back to Philly, Hugh Douglas.
Well, speaking of which, late last night, I get back home and all that. And I'm scrolling Twitter, and I see my dear friend Hugh Lamont Douglas III. By the way, joining us on the Zatos Investments guest line. Have to put this out on social media. Dude, were they coming at you?
Well,
what happened here?
Listen, man. Like I make it know. Everybody knows my ties to Philadelphia, and every time there's a Philadelphia and Atlanta team playing, I always try to refrain from any showing of enthusiasm for the home squad or anything like that. So I tweeted out, do you see Trey now or something like that? Do you believe in Trey now? Mm-hmm. Because Trey, like since I've been here, Trey has been slighted for the All-Star games. Trey is not considered one of the elite players in the NBA for whatever reason. Trey has always compared to Luka Doncic, and Luka Doncic is always deemed to be the better player. And that's what I was tweeting about. It was just unfortunate that it had come at a time where they had just beat the Sixers. But that's all, doing show content, tweeting, being relevant in the market. And some Sixers fans came at me like, so what do you think about these fouls, Hugh? And, and I started to see it because it was going downhill, because I understand people look at me as a Philadelphian, which is fine. And I'm cool with that. And I am. But I live in Atlanta. I work in Atlanta. So it's unfortunate for me that the teams are playing. So I just had to let people know before they started to hit me with the ire, that displaced anger, if you will. Save that stuff for Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Let them get that, because they're going to get it in the morning anyway.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sports radio in the morning anyway. So
don't give
it to me. Don't be mad at me for doing my job. Go ahead and give it to them, because they're the ones that played. They are the ones that were in direct control of their destiny on the court. So don't get mad at me for doing my job when they didn't do theirs. So, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
You have, I know, like 60,000 Twitter followers.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a healthy split between Philadelphia and Atlanta.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But you're the market you're working. What I'm saying is, if you tweet out anything saying about either market, the other's going to jump on, especially when it's a head-to-head matchup.
But I will say this. The Philadelphia market, they come at your neck a little bit different. Hey, Philadelphians, when they come at your neck, boy, they come in guns a blazing. In Atlanta, it's a good chance that I can reason with the person and they can understand. In Philadelphia, ain't none of that, brother. They come guns just blazing, like, damn it, Douglas, don't you ever? And you know what? People hold. You know how it is in Philly.
Oh yeah.
Old lady, people hold on to stuff for a long time.
Just like the old lady with Mitch Williams, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, you got a lot of nerve, Mitch. Yeah, basically. So yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, it's a little bit different.
Oh my God.
Like, sports here hit a little different. They hit a lot different. They hit in Philadelphia.
Did you hear Joel Embiid after the game? Not to harp on the same exact play over and over again with Ben Simmons, but did you hear about Joel Embiid talking about the turning point of the game?
When they missed the free throw or something?
He said when we missed a shot.
Yes.
And then you missed a free throw, and he was talking about the Ben Simmons dunk.
Yeah, he was talking about that, yeah.
I mean, that's as close to one teammate throwing another one under the proverbial bus, is it not?
When you okay, prime example. When John Collins dunked on Joel Embiid, after Joel Embiid kind of like disrespected him initially before that play happened, and then he yammed on him and put it on a t-shirt. Those dunks, like in the games like this, they're defining moments. That dunk right there on Joel Embiid got John Collins. I can't even speak. Try to say that three times fast. That got John Collins paid. That got him paid right there, Marc Farzetta, because he yammed on a star player like Joel Embiid.
He fouled him. It was an offensive foul.
Okay, that's fine. We're not going to argue that. We're not going to argue. But he dunked on him.
Right.
Posterized him. So now in Atlanta, that's all that you see on Instagram and everything is John Collins wearing a T-shirt like this one that he got made up by a friend of his of him yamming on Joel Embiid. That people are buying, by the way. That people are buying these T-shirts because that's how they feel about it here in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that moment right there defined that for John Collins. The same way Ben Simmons, him not doing that is going to be what people remember about him in Philadelphia.
I want to ask you real quick. Some NFL news came out. Carl Nassib comes out as the first player in the NFL, currently in the NFL, to come out as gay, as a homosexual. And I mean, to me, as someone who has gay friends, gay family members, like, to me, sexual orientation is no longer like, oh, okay, that's your life.
Story. It shouldn't
like,
be.
Exactly. Like, I don't start an interview with, hi, by the way, I'm straight, I'm married to a woman, whatever. Like, I just don't see that as news, but I get that helps a whole community of people by saying, oh, wow, he came out, I can do that too, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just curious from an NFL player's perspective, when you saw that news, what did it mean to you?
I was like, congratulations to him. I mean, there's always been speculation about guys in NFL being gay and things of that nature, but it goes back to that whole thing about the mental health of professional athletes, and you're not supposed to have anything bother you. And it's the same thing with your sexual orientation, because in the NFL, you're supposed to be this big masculine dude that likes to date a lot of women and be, whatever. That's not the case. I applaud him for coming out, man. I know that had to be a tough decision for him. I was reading somewhere he said he struggled for like 15 years.
Yeah.
With this. So I'm happy for him. And you know what the unfortunate thing about this is, Marc, is that he struggled with it because he knows that there are still a bunch of ignorant ass people out there that are going to judge him for his orientation. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate that there are still some ignorant ass people out there that are going to hold him back because of his orientation or not give him certain opportunities because of his orientation. Mm-hmm. That's why he didn't tell anybody, because, there's still this stigma in the locker room where, there's going to be, Marc, let's be honest, there's going to be some ignorant ass individuals that are his teammates that are going to come out and say some ignorant stuff about this. And it's going to be something that it has to be dealt with. That's the unfortunate world that we live in. But I applaud him for it. And it had to be a tough decision for him to make. And I wish him nothing but the best.
Well said, my friend. Well said. I've had conversations with people about this before. And I want to live in a world where a player is about to, the bye week comes up and the player is like, somebody says, hey, what are you doing on the bye week? A reporter. And they ask him and he goes, my boyfriend and I, we're going to go down and we're going to, go to the islands, whatever. And the reporter's like, what? Your boyfriend?
Oh my gosh.
Are you coming out? And the player's like, what do you mean am I coming out? I'm gay. Like, what? Is that even news anymore? Yeah. Like, I look forward to that, where it's not news. It's just a matter of fact type of thing, man.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be a while, Marc, because it's like it's a lot of ignorant people out there, man, still.
Yeah, no, I hear that, my friend. But well said by you. Well said, my friend. Joining us here on the Zatos Investments guest line, Hugh, thanks for breaking it down, and thanks for always being honest, whether it's Atlanta or Philadelphia. Just know that I appreciate it, all right?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
On this fine HUGHSDAY, Hugh Lamont Douglas III.
Peace.
And we're going to get to that a little bit more in our morning rush segment, but when I see that news about a player coming out as gay or whatever it might be, in terms of an active player or someone who's about to be drafted, whatever it might be, like it's just so weird because I try to put myself in the player's shoes where I feel like I have to tell somebody, and by the way, I'm into women. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's the norm, right? Straight is the norm, right? But it's like, I couldn't imagine having to openly tell somebody that. But I get it from Carl Nassib's perspective, where again, it helps another group of people. It helps a group of people that is struggling with in their own right with what they identify as gay, straight, lesbian, whatever it might be. And they're worried about coming out because they're just terrified. And it feels like the more people that come out and the more people that are just matter of fact about it, like Carl Nassib's social media post was great. And the way he delivered the news, you would never know that he struggled for those 15 years and probably more to come out and say, what he was. Going back and forth, I'm sure, for, again, more than 15 years of saying, when am I going to actually address this? When am I going to actually talk about this? Should I do it? Should I not do it? What happens if I do, in fact, come out and say this stuff? And the way he delivered it was like, just wanted to let you guys know I'm gay. And like the way that he put that out there was like, look, this is a guy that's got a great handle on it. And he's doing this so we can help other people. And he made $100,000 donation in order to help the word get out and help people that are struggling with something like this. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing. Good for him, because what it really does do, it's not for an NFL player. I mean, in a way it is for other NFL players that might be struggling with the same issue. They might want to be doing the same thing that Carl Nassib is doing. But what I think about are people that I've come to know and love in my life, and how much they've struggled with it. And if you've ever had anyone come out to you and tell you, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm gay. Generally speaking, a lot of times, and my reaction every time has been like, okay, cool. You do you, man. That's whatever. Or it's been like, yeah, I know, whatever. No big deal. But they're always fearing the worst, like some sort of, banishment from the life that they have known with their family and friends that they have known and loved. So anybody that comes out like this, like Carl Nassib did, it's to help that group of people that are struggling with that decision in their own right and struggling whether or not they want other people to know who they really are. So good for him. It certainly will help a lot of people that are struggling with that same decision. Just know here on the Farzy Show, hey, we cool, man. You know what I mean? I accept you. All are welcome at the table here. All are welcome at the table. Thanks to Hugh Douglas for joining us on the program yet again today. We have our social media check-in coming up. We also have our morning rush coming up. Oh, so much to get into on our morning rush today, ladies and gentlemen. We got it all. But right now, I do want to tell you about DraftKings. I was doing it again last night. I was betting balls and strikes. I couldn't help myself. And it probably wasn't the best day to do that. And I'll tell you why in our morning rush segment. But right now, I do want to tell you about DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. I love using DraftKings. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, nearly limitless ways that you can get in on all the action with DraftKings Sportsbook. My friends and family love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It is a good time. And right now, you can take advantage of this special offer when you use promo code Farzy. That's right. Sign up. Use promo code Farzy when you use this bet right here. DraftKings is putting you courtside with a chance to turn $1 into $100 in site credits. You pick any basketball team still in contention, bet $1, and if that team wins, guess what? You win $100 in site credits. Don't forget, DraftKings Sportsbook also has great odds and promotions in baseball and hockey as well, all week long. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy to turn $1 into $100 in site credits. Bet on the basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you'll claim $100 in free credits. That's promo code Farzy for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, present in Pennsylvania, new customers only, wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And how about Steak and Maine? SteakandMaine.com. You hear me talking about it all the time. Fine dining in the heart of Northeast Maryland, whether you like to dine in a more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that in an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself at steakandmaine.com. Also been telling you about our friends at PHLSportsNation.com. You can check them out over there at Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering your favorite teams across blogs and social media. PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. And speaking of fans, download the FanUp app, people. Go to the App Store, download the FanUp app, use promo code FanUp, get 2,000 bonus points to play with right out of the gate. So you play with house money to begin with right there. FanUp, you could have great challenges on there. You can issue challenges to your friends, put a gentleman's bet in writing, if you will, and you could you basically play fantasy sports with your friends, but in a much more exciting way. You could answer fun questions. You could take part in their daily and weekly contest. Answer those fun questions. You could rise on their leaderboard for a chance to win brand prizes, cash, gift cards, all sorts of great stuff that you could win at FanUp. Download the FanUp app in the App Store. Use promo code FanUp for 2,000 bonus points to get you started. That's FanUp. Just be fans. All right, let's jump into our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Let's see. Ken's checking in saying, Farzy, I'm dead. I'm sorry you're dead. Please don't be dead. You're not dead because you commented again, Farzy, because you spelled with an S-I instead of a Z-Y, but whatever. Ken, welcome back. I'm glad you're not dead, so that's cool. Jacob's saying just brutal, and that pretty much sums it up for Ben Simmons. I believe that's what you were commenting on earlier in the program. Good morning. Can't even wake up. I couldn't even wake up yesterday, so depressed. Nick, welcome back to the chat, my friend. Appreciate you joining us again. I'm not going to lie. I went back and forth with some people on Instagram yesterday. They were commenting on the show, posts, and all that. This loss stuck with me, and it's going to stick with me for a while because, and I made this association yesterday, it's a lot because of the Rondé Barber interception return. Like, you felt like that was the year the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl. The Nets were bounced out. I felt like the Sixers matched up with the Bucks. The Clippers don't have Kawhi Leonard. Don't know when they're going to have him back. ACL injury, knee sprain, whatever they're calling it now. Chris Paul is probably going to be back for this series at some point. He's in COVID protocol. But it's open is the point. There's no like LeBron James, Steph Curry, whoever it might be, Kevin Durant, that's waiting for you in the finals. It's wide open. This is your year. And a little bit more aggressive Ben Simmons gets you to the finals. I mean, you couldn't have really asked much more from Joel Embiid. What more were you going to get from the guy with the torn meniscus? Ben Simmons is a guy you could ask a lot more from. It was Tobias Harris all of a sudden going to become a 35 points per game scorer? Absolutely not. Tobias Harris is what he is. He will be forever. That's exactly what he is, Tobias Harris. Ben Simmons is the one guy you look at and go, dude, what the hell? Where were you? Hey, 5 for 23, Trae Young, good job, man. But everything else did not make up for the defense. I know that what a lot of people want to believe, but it certainly didn't. Not from my perspective, not even a little bit. Jacob's checking in here saying yesterday was a pod day, ultimate snooze. That he woke up at 8 a.m. He kept hitting snooze after the playoff, not on the snooze. But anyway, Taylor's saying we have the Eastern Conference Finals. You're absolutely right, we did. Benny, I'm going to hit up Barstool Smitty, and I'm going to see if he wants to come on this week. Maybe even tomorrow. We'll just get his takes on all the things. I did see his posts, and yes, he was not happy. Love that guy. Is Steven Singer going to sue Ben Simmons? What, because more people hate Ben Simmons now? Is that your point, Ian? I like that point, if that's your point. Luigi's checking in. Do you guys think Ben Simmons, what do you think Ben Simmons is legit doing today? Has to be a lonely feeling. I'm going to say Call of Duty. I'm going to say Ben Simmons is Call of Duty. Kevin likes Hugh's line of Instacart Ben. And we were going back and forth. Who was it on? Was it Kevin on here? Saying, I don't see Ben Simmons going out there and go food shopping. Well, I will say that he did go vacuum cleaner shopping with Kendall Jenner. So I wouldn't put it out of the realm exactly. Yeah, it was Kevin. That he would go food shopping. I'll just say that much. That's my only rebuttal to that. Luigi's checking in saying, Farzy, will it be okay? No, it will not be okay. It won't be. Here's what sucks about a player coming up small in the playoffs or a player getting injured in the playoffs. You know it bleeds into next year. And that's why I'm telling everybody, don't buy into the social media posts. If Ben Simmons is posting the videos and the pictures of him shooting jump shots or whatever. Like, please, everyone comment, whatever, dude. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until we see him in the postseason again. If he does, in fact, get to the postseason again with the Sixers. Because, like, you could go through another great regular season as Ben Simmons. Fine. All right, good. You're a great facilitator. You're a great defender. It doesn't matter if teams know how to take you out. in the playoffs, like the Celtics did 3 years ago, like the obviously like the Hawks did in this series. But it felt like the Hawks really weren't doing as much against Ben Simmons as much as it was Ben Simmons doing stuff against Ben Simmons. And I know we always talk about the dunk and all that stuff and passing up on it, but really him not driving the paint, him not attacking the rim. There was one play, it was a game 6 in Atlanta, where he had Seth Curry on the wing. No, it was Matisse Thybulle on the wing. And he was driving up, and there was 3 defenders back for Atlanta. But it was Trae Young in the middle. You mean to tell me Ben Simmons, with as much speed as he had, and he is a lightning fast player, with as much speed as he has at that size, can't take Trae Young to the rack? Come on, man. So many times where he passed up an opportunity to be aggressive and just didn't see it fit for him to be aggressive. But anyway, what was my point? I don't remember. Kevin's checking back in. Oh, Brett's back. Brett, welcome back, bro. Good to have you in. What else do we have here? Oh, on the Carl Nassib stuff, everyone's saying, wow, great woke chat group. You're damn right. Look at us being all woke and whatnot. Look at us. So anyway, appreciate everybody checking in there on social media. Check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Also, our Twitter poll question. I was looking at things right now. And our Twitter poll question has to do with Ben Simmons and where you guys think he's going to play. It looks like the vast majority of you think he's going to be playing out west. 48% say that he's going to be playing out west. 27% he's still going to be on the trade block going into next year. So we'll see how all that plays out. Thanks to everyone checking in on our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Now it's time for our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars and SkyMotorCars.com. I've mentioned the month of February a lot in this series, really this season, because Ben Simmons had his best month. I've mentioned many times that he shot 70% from the free throw line in the month of February. 10 games he played in the month of February. In those 10 games, he shot 70%. But did you know that month he also averaged 21 points per game? No quinky-dink there. Foul shot fell. Highest point total on average that he's had in a month since I don't know how. Ben Simmons can't have that many months where he's averaged over 20 points per game, but he did it this past February. And some people might say, oh, well, Joel Embiid was injured. No, he wasn't. That wasn't until March where he only played 3 games. Joel Embiid not only played, but averaged 32 points per game and over 10 rebounds per game. Then they can't play together. They can play together. Ben Simmons hitting his free throws. Anyway, I digress. We mentioned Carl Nassib. Pitcher's sticky substance. Here's 2 things that drove me crazy. I teased it earlier. One is any discussion about NCAA athletes getting paid. I have solved that problem. I solved that problem many years ago. Schools should not pay student athletes. You open up that can of worms, forget about it. Because how much are you going to pay this athlete versus that athlete? And that is across the board. It's not just on one particular team. That's not just a football team. You're going to pay the quarterback. The same you're going to pay your, your kick returner. I don't know. Are you going to pay the quarterback the same as the best girl on the field hockey team? Like, that just opens up a whole can of worms. You don't pay athletes in college. But, and this is where you solve the problem, you allow those athletes to make money. And that's where the NCAA started to get this right 2 years ago when they came out and said, you know what, you can make money off your name if you'd like to. And that was a big win for a lot of reasons, but there's still a lot of red tape to be worked through with that. But in the days of social media, the days of social influencers, if I'm even a soccer player at some D3 school and I have the opportunity to go out and make money on an appearance or saying that kids on campus should go to this bar or whatever, and they can pay you to do that and go to this restaurant and they can pay you money to do that, kids should not be paid by the university, but they should be allowed to make money based off who they are, their name, and what they do. That's like, it's like, this is America, right? Anyway, that comes up because yesterday they got, they wanted a case where they could get laptops. Like, come on, man. This is what we're talking about now. It's one of those things that makes me bang my head against the wall. And then the other thing that makes me bang my head against the wall is Major League Baseball and their dumb rules. So pitchers came out, and they've been talking about not using sticky substances. They can't have any banned substances. So if you're watching baseball, even yesterday, you see Jacob deGrom pitch where he gets inspected by the umps. It's not. I don't think it's after every inning, but it's like every couple of innings they go up to the pitcher and be like, "All right, show me inside your belt. Okay, show me the bottom of your cap. All right, show me your glove. Show me your wrists. You have anything on your sleeve? And they go through more or less a pat down. The umpires like pat down the pitcher. Hey, what do you got? Any banned substances? No? Okay, see you get in the dugout. Hey, if they're worried about pitchers gaining that much of an edge, can we just ban the shift? If you want to see more offense, can we just ban the shift as opposed to making them look like they're being interrogated by drug interdictors at the border? Like, seriously, how ridiculous is this? I'm shocked that Major League Baseball Players Association is like, oh yeah, go ahead and search our players. It's weird. If you didn't see it yesterday, man, it's just weird to see. Also, World of Basketball, Becky Hammon and Chauncey Billups, finalists for the Portland Trailblazers job as head coaches. And one plug to somebody else in our Buzz Sports and Entertainment family circle. Nasty Knuckles has a great episode out, great social media clips as well, from the golf outing that I took part in a couple of weeks ago with Riley Cote, with Derek Settlemeyer, of course, Nasty himself, as well as Neil Little. It involves a rubber snake, and it involves scaring the hell out of people. And one of the people is me. Anyway, that's out there on the social media stuff with Nasty Knuckles, so make sure you guys check them out at Nasty Knuckles on Instagram and all their episodes as well. That's what I got for you as far as our Morning Rush segment goes. Oh, we also have NBA action tonight. 9:10 tip-off, I believe it is. Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Clippers and Suns. We'll have more on that in our Big Bets segment coming up right now, as a matter of fact. So let's close out our social media, our Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. And in closing today, Big Bets brought to you by DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. I couldn't help myself. I missed the Sixers last night, so I said, you know what? Let's make some stupid bets. I made some stupid bets, took another bath last night, and that's why it was a bad night to bet balls and strikes, because pitchers were being checked for foreign substances. And last night, Darvish, although he had a lot of strikeouts, and Urias of the Dodgers, they were all over the place a little bit last night. Urias, through the most by percentage, was the best strike-throwing pitcher in Major League Baseball going into last night. Certainly did not show that last night, unfortunately. So your boy lost some money. However, the big bets that I do like tonight, I feel like this is the safest bet you could talk about when you don't have Paul George, or when you don't have Chris Paul on the Suns, and you don't have Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers. The over-under for points for Devin Booker and Paul George, both at 30.5. I took the over on both. Those are my big bets for tonight. So I'm going to try to make up a couple of bucks from the bath I took last night betting balls and strikes. So let's go Devin Booker. Let's go Paul George. Please, by all means, go off tonight like you did in the third quarter against each other in game 1 of this series, where, Paul George scored 15 points in the third quarter, and Devin Booker rattled off 18 points in the third quarter to, of course, propel to the Suns to a 1-0 series lead in the Western Conference. So those are my big bets. Paul George and Devin Booker, both at 30.5. I took the over on both of them tonight in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. And I did that, of course, on DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. My thanks to Hugh Lamont Douglas III for joining us on this fine program today on this fine HUGHSDAY. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. Be back with you guys tomorrow morning. Welcome back to the chat for some people that took yesterday off because of, well, I get it. Let's just say I get it. A lot of people had a hard time talking about what happened with the Sixers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.